All right, Sydney, I hope you're ready. Here we go. Coaches on the couch. Hey everyone, it's Brent here. Welcome to Coaches on the Couch, episode 3. I got Sydney here with me, and I'm just kidding. I'm going to take this down right now. She'll probably kill me later. But anyway, Sydney's out traveling back home. Wishing her safe travels back home, and we'll see her in a week. This week for Coaches on the Couch, really excited to talk about the Bruin Invite, which we swam just finished up yesterday. We swam Saturday and Sunday, and it was a great meet for us. I have my notes here to make sure that I don't forget anything that I want to talk about. So if I look down at that, sorry, it's what I'm trying to do, trying to remember everything that happened. First off, before I get into it though, big thanks to George Fox University for hosting, always gracious host and always phenomenal host. And as well as congratulations to them, Pacific Lutheran and Pacific, on everybody swims. So again, it was a really good meet. You know, it's a small meet. It's kind of always been a small meet. But it's always a fast meet. I think that's an important thing to say. You know, we look at the other invites that our teams in the Northwest Conference went to. Whitworth and UPS were at the Lager Invite hosted by UPS. Whitman went to the Northwest Collegiate Invite, I think hosted by Idaho. I'm not exactly sure on that one. And then Lewis and Clark went down to Laverne. And then, us, again, George Fox, Pacific Lutheran, were at the Bruin Invite, and then not UNLV. Linfield will be at the UNLV Invite later next month. And so, yeah, it's just, it might be small, but it's a fast meet. It allows a lot of second swims for us, which I really enjoy, because not all of our swimmers are going to get second swims come conference, and I think it's a good opportunity to get to swim a prelims finals meet. And so, again, just thank you, George Fox, for an amazing meet. I'm going to try not to speed through this because I do think this is a really important recap to do. But with that said, it might be a little bit of a longer video this week. So hope you enjoy. Anyway, like I said, this was just an incredible meet for us. I think from the beginning of the meet on Saturday morning all the way to the end on Sunday evening, it was one of the most complete performances I think that we've ever had at Bruin Invite. And what I mean by that is just the individual swims and performances, the individual racings, the relay performances, the energy on deck, the energy from our parent cheering section. We love you all. And then just the support of each other was just incredible. I told the team at the end of the meet, remember this feeling, because that's what we want when we head into the spring and when we head into conference. Like, that's what we need to be our best. Not from like we have to depend on that, but that when we have that, we need to appreciate it, capture it, and ride it through. And I would say I think Bruin was a great meet in that regard. Like I said, going back to the supportive teammates, from what I saw, it looked like it wasn't just like, there were a couple tough swims or people maybe not reaching their goal times that they wanted for this meet. And it wasn't just people like consoling that or like telling like, hey, keep your head up, keep your chin up, like you're gonna get the next one, you're gonna do that. But it was the celebration of each other's success. And I think that is bar none, like one of the most things I'm most proud of is the celebration of each other, right? And when you can cheer for your teammates just as much as you can cheer for yourself, I think that says we're in a really good spot. And I saw that from both the men's and women's team within their respective teams, across teams, and it didn't matter first year to senior, like it just fantastic, right? Fantastic all around. I'm gonna break this into two parts, right? We'll talk about the women's meet and we'll talk about the men's meet and then kind of wrap it up right here. So we're gonna start with the women's meet. First and foremost, congratulations to our women. They won the meet, kind of going away, established a pretty big lead after day one. I think we're up around 70 some odd points, and never really relinquished that. Congratulations to our juniors who have never lost this meet, and to our seniors who have now won it 3 out of the last 4 years. Obviously, the sophomores and first years have never lost this meet either. So yeah, three-peat, pretty cool. Kind of, like I said, one going away, largest margin of victory we've ever had for this meet. We have won it 4 out of the last 6 times on the women's side. So yeah, it's pretty cool to continue on that tradition. We never go into this meet with the goal for the women of winning the meet. But I had a pretty good feeling that we were going to be well positioned to do so. I think our depth was what was going to allow us to win that meet. we swam George Fox earlier in the year. The women won that meet. We swam Pacific Lutheran, and we actually lost that meet. We caught PLU caught us on a day where in their lineup they're very, very good, right? They're very good in the long formats, the 200s of stroke, the 200 IM, the distance event. They came in and swam us really well. You can go back and watch that episode if you want. But I knew that because of that, we were going to have some battles, but I also highly suspected that our depth would overcome kind of individual performances on both those sides. And Pacific, really good team with the size they have. They're very small, but they do have some standout swimmers, and so we'll see them in January. Looking forward to that. Again, I think, like I said, this meet really showcased our depth. We won 3 out of the 4 relays, close second in the 200 medley, which was the one we came in second in. I think it was 16 hundredths what we lost by, or I should say finished second by. I shouldn't say we lost, finished second by. And so, yeah, that was really good. I think where we're at from a team building perspective and looking at, I think relays are a really good indicator of that, because yes, we've had some standout individual swimmers in the past and we've been able to put decent A relays together, but now we're beginning to build incredible Bs and trickling down to the C relays, and then we also have D and E relays for the women. And when your B relay is like barely getting out touched by somebody's A relay, I think that's really exciting, right? It shows that not only, again, do we have great depth, but we're building a really good program here with the women that we have on roster. Based on the results from the other invites, and then with the kind of expectation that Linfield will get up and perform, I think we're really well positioned going into conference with our relays. I think 4 out of the 5 have the potential to be in the second heat, the faster heat at conference, and then again the 2 med is kind of where I think we'll end up in that first position, that first heat. But that'll just be a chance for us to hopefully have clean water and go out and race. And again, no disrespect to the other teams that'll be in that heat. We will always respect our competition and treat it as if anybody can win any given heat. But I think we will put forth a time that will be very competitive at the conference level for that. Looking at the individual performances, we're set up, again, without Linfield going, we're set up, I think, really well in the conference. Again, a lot of really fast swimmers on the women's side, a lot of depth on the women's side, but I think, individually we're set up really well. Ultimately, we won't know really where we stack out for conference until the site sheets for the meet are released, right? And we see who's entered in what. But when I look at our performances and, you pull the top times report from USA Swimming, we look really good. And so that's exciting. Again, I think our depth will really come into play at conference. And I'm just looking forward to building upon that. Individual performance of the meet. So we'll do this for the men and the women, individual and relay performance. Individual performance for the women's team has to be Sarah's mile, and solely for the fact that she swam about 400 of the last 400 of that without a cap and with her hair just flowing beautifully in the water. I was watching her swim about around the 1100 mark. I noticed her cap was showing more hair than it normally does, and I was like, that's probably not good. And over the next kind of 100 to 150, 200, it slowly worked its way up to barely hanging on, and I was like, man, around 1250, I was like, one good push and that cap's coming off, and it certainly did on one of her turns, and it came off, and the hair tie quickly went thereafter, and she swam, like I said, 350 to 400 yards with her hair just out. And that was a bummer for sure, right? Don't get me wrong. It's definitely a bummer. She was holding incredible pace for her. But she kept going. She didn't stop. She kept fighting. She was pushing hard. And I really appreciate that from her, right? From a senior to set the example of like, I'm not going to stop. I'm going to go. I think that says a lot. And, she still dropped 50 seconds from her entry time. So when we look at what could that be for conference, I think she is going to have a big swim. I think she's going to have a big swim. I think maybe she might want a double cap from here on out. We joked that she's going to get her haircut now. But again, Sarah, incredible performance in that mile, even with the cap malfunction. Relay performances of the meet for the women. I'm really hedging here. I'm actually picking 2 relays with an honorable mention of a third. But again, I think that just speaks to how well our women's team relays are going right now. So the honorable mention really quick is the 400 free relay. It's actually, if you look at SwimCloud, ranked better than one of the relays I picked as performance of the meet. It was a dominant performance by our women. You know, when you put 4 women up in the final of the 100 free, I think you're kind of expected that the 400 free is going to come really well for you all. And it did, right? Don't get me wrong. We dominated that event. We swam really, really well. But I think the context of the 2 free relay and the 400 medley relay are more exciting. And that's why I picked them as my relay events for the women of the meet. So let's start with the 2 free, right? The 2 free has traditionally been one of our weaker relays, right? It's been a while since we've had 4 really good 50 freestylers, and we're kind of there now, and so that's really exciting. We went a 140.66, which currently sits us 3rd in the conference, just 0.24 behind UPS for second. And I don't know if we've ever been ranked that high. So that's really exciting. You know, big shouts to Mia, Lydia, Leah, and Elena for putting together an incredible relay. You know, Mia and Lydia leading off the front half of that relay, keeping it really close with PLU. PLU put some big hitters up in that first 100. And Mia and Leah did what they needed to do to give Leah and Elena the opportunity to race hard in the back half. Pacific was also there. Again, Pacific has a really good 2 free relay. They were right there with us through that first 100. But I think what set it apart is Leah dropped a tremendous 3rd leg for us, splitting a 24, I think it was 24/7, to really give Elena a pretty nice cushion going into the last, into Elena's anchor leg. And then Elena did not take her foot off the gas. She dropped a 24/3 to end that relay, and again set us up to be really well in the conference. You know, we'll see who we end up putting on that relay at conference. Elena is so versatile, you know, with the medleys and the 400 and 800 relay, that we might swap her out. But again, with the development of people like Leah, Mia, Lydia, knowing that we can also plug them in some other relays, that maybe Elena could go after that, and that could be a big thing. But I'll kind of come back to that in a little bit here. The second one is the 400 medley, made up of Leah, Anna, Tessa, and Elena. This traditionally has been a strong event for us the last 2 years. Last year was the first year that the women got into the second heat for this, and I expect them to kind of be there again this year. We ended up going a 4:05.31, again putting us 3rd in the conference, just barely ahead of Lewis and Clark by 0.07. Big congratulations to Lewis and Clark for their results at Laverne. You know, Leah and Tatum was the B relay backstroker, led off in a very strong 101 for both of them, giving us about a 2-second cushion over PLU and Pacific. Anna dropped in, great breaststroke, 110 flat. Again, not really ceding any sort of time to anybody. Tessa hopped in and swam a 00 flat. And she had a good race for her. It's just PLU, that's when they made their big move with Riley. Riley dropped a 58.3, I think, or somewhere around that. Actually, I was talking with Andrew afterwards, and he was like, that's faster than she split at conference last year. And I mean, yeah, she was moving, but again, big ups to Tessa. Tessa hung tough. Gave Elena just enough of a cushion for Elena to explode in that anchor. Elena dropping a massive 53.8 to just go out and really seal the win, and just pulling away, winning, going away. What I think is really interesting about this relay is composite time, we are actually faster. Leah, Anna, and Tessa all swam faster in their individual races than they did in that relay. And part of that's probably just fatigue, more than anything else. Like if this had been a 3-day meet, I suspect they probably would have been faster than their individuals. So yeah, cumulatively, those 3 together, when you take their individual events, they were 1.23 seconds faster total for those 3 than they were in the relay. So if you take that into account, our composite time's a 4:04:08, which puts us, clear by Lewis and Clark by 1.3 seconds. Again, we'll see how Linfield does, but I'm really excited in the fact that we are a solid third in that relay right now, and I think we will get much, much better by the time February rolls around. Leah and Tatum will continue to fight in a good way. I mean that in a very good way, to push themselves and to see how far under a minute can they get. I know Anna will definitely be there. She's a racer. She's a gamer. It's fantastic. Tessa, let's get Tessa. How fast can we get Tessa? Can we get her approaching that 49 or 59-second barrier? Do we get her into 58? That's the goal. And Elena, 53, how much further can we drop it, right? How close can we get to going to 52? So it'll be really exciting. So again, just phenomenal women's meet. I'm really happy with how they did. Let's transition to the men now. The men finished a very solid third place. Again, kind of matching my expectations. I knew going into this meet that our individual performances would be very good. Our relay performances would be very good. Where we were going to be held up a little bit is the fact that we don't have a lot of depth compared to Pacific Lutheran and George Fox for sure. George Fox, I think, doubles up our men's total, and Pacific Lutheran had 3 to 4 more men that they were competing with. And again, that's taking nothing away from those two teams. They absolutely earned their placings, and they swam a great job. And I do love competing against those teams. So for us, right, for the men, it was of course, team success is what we want, right? You're swimming for the Bearcat on your cap, but I also wanted them to really understand, you all are going to be the disruptors in this meet versus those teams. I think maybe they can just get it because they have a bigger team. Again, individual performances really well. Our top talent is stacking up really well across the conference. Our people who are more mid-tier are definitely in some good ranges to maybe make some noise at conference. And I think for that's our ultimate goal, right? It's just how well can we do individually so that collectively the team does really well. And I think we will, right? So, yes, it's a little bit of a different mindset than the women's team, but at the same time, it's the same mindset as that at the end of the day, we're all racing for Willamette, and how good can Willamette do, not how good can I individually do, and only worrying about you, right? Men's team, individual performance, Kyle Lapa in his 100 breaststroke. I mean, I don't know if I can praise this swim enough, right? So just a little backstory. Kyle Lapa, we actually recruited him as a sprint freestyler. Last year at the inter-squad meet, his team needed someone to swim breaststroke, and he said, I'll do it. And he won a 1:11. We fast forward to conference last year, and he is a 00. He drives 11 seconds, right? We're like, okay, guess we found a new event for Kyle Lapa. Coming to this year, he's really excited about the 100 breaststroke. He's wanting to swim up to the 2 breast, which he had a phenomenal 2 breaststroke going to 2:12. But at our George Fox dual meet, he drops a 1:007, just barely off his conference time. And we're like, we need to reevaluate your conference goals immediately. But let's get to Bruin. Let's see what you do. He wanted to go a 59 at Bruin at this meet. And in prelims, he went a 1:0009. I thought he was under, and obviously not quite there, right? A 10th away. And so, I was like, hey, I think you've definitely got more in the tank for finals. He thought he had more in the tank for finals, and I knew it would, again, be a good swim with the Pacific Lutherans breaststroker. And he went out there and he drops, a massive 58.88 to become the 3rd fastest performer in our program history. So congratulations, Kyle Lapa, on that. And I would argue it was the men's swim of the meet. I mean, no disrespect to our team, to any other teams there, but that was a pretty substantial swim from Kyle Lapa. He currently sits 4th in the conference in the 100 breaststroke. So just incredible performance. I think that record is definitely on watch now as we get closer to conference in February. Relay performance for the men has to be the 400 free relay, the absolute last event that we swam for the meet. And I mean, what a way to cap it off. I don't know how to describe the energy other than just that roof was getting blown off for sure. It came, between George Fox, us, and Pacific Lutheran, all incredibly well, evenly matched. It was really going to come down to who wanted it the most, and I think all 3 teams wanted it, right? That relay was made up of Kevin, Kaolapa, Paul, and Cole, and those four men just went out there and put it down and did a great job. Kevin got us off to an amazing start. He gave us a very nice cushion. With his leadoff 100 free, a little bit of a redemption swim for him. Kevin's goggles came off at the very beginning of his 100 free, popped up, fixed them real quick, and then kept going. And I'm not gonna lie, quick side tangent, I thought he was gonna be so out of that race because it came to a hard stop. But I mean, man, credit to him. He fixed those things and he put his head down. He spun his arms as fast as he probably could. And, he still won a 50 point in that, even with, again, a full stop right after the dive. So, yeah, this was he 49 in this, got us out to the lead we needed and enough for Kaolapa to dive in on the second leg. And Kaolapa threw down a 50 flat and, coming off the 100 breast, just probably not even a half an hour earlier, like that was a great swim for him. And it's what we needed to do. It was enough to give Paul a lead to going into his first 50. Paul held that first 50 and came into the wall to finish us under just hundredths of a second behind PLU. Paul splitting a 49.9, did what he needed to do. Fantastic swim, gutsy swim to really stay in there in the wash between the two other teams and really fighting for it. And that led to Cole. Cole was our anchor. Cole threw down again a massive 47.8. The only time he's ever been faster is conference 2 years ago. And Cole, I mean, just underwaters, lethal underwaters, comes up and just hammers. And held the lead took the lead back, I guess I should say, at the 50 flip and held on. I mean, we pipped Pacific Lutheran by, I think, 0.09, Fox by just a little bit more. But like at that point, like it was so loud. I don't think you could have heard anything other than screaming. And just what a way to end the meet. And again, what a way to end our performances for those guys. So again, congratulations to those 4 guys. But yeah, so that's how the men and women's meet went. So what does that all mean, right? So I think we are in just a phenomenal spot. We are well seated individually. We are well seated in relays, and it's a very exciting time. But it's also like we can't rest on our laurels, right? Like this was the midseason, and it's a great barometer of where we are. But we need to make sure that we are continuing to make progress toward conference. So this week. They're off completely. I hope they have a great break, spending time with friends and family, kind of resting, re-energizing, as well as prepping for finals, right? Academic finals are in about 2.5 weeks for us. And so hopefully they can get some good rest before that comes. When we get back, the week we get back will be kind of a mix of some conditioning work, but a lot of technique work. We'll talk about that in next week's episode. But also a lot of film work, and then when we get to our final schedule, really focusing on a technique and film work, so we can see what the strokes look like underwater and what we can fix heading into the winter break and the final part of season. Again, like I said, you can't rest on what you've done. Like again, we have phenomenal swims, but it doesn't matter what we've done here in end of November. It'll matter what we do in mid-February. And you never know what someone may do in the spring to kind of disrupt things. And so, for us, for me as the head coach, and I'm sure for Sydney, here's Sydney again. Sorry, Sydney. It is making sure that we are continuing to challenge them to get better technically, to get better with their conditioning and their race mechanics and strategies, while also supporting them through it, right? Like January can be tough. January can be a slog because we come back, we're training hard, we're competing a lot, and conference is in sight, right? You get a little bit like, we just got to make it to conference. But I think if we take our eye too far forward, we're going to lose the presence that we need to focus on the here and now. And so we'll talk about that when we get back in January, about keeping the focus present while acknowledging the future for conference. And like I said, more kind of thoughts on that as we get in further episodes of Coaches on the Couch here. The last thing I want to do before I wrap up this video, and again, I have no idea how long I've been talking, is I really want to thank our parent group. Our parent group is phenomenal. We had a huge section there this weekend. I'm sure the fact that the Thanksgiving break is right now probably helped with travel and all that. But I also know a lot of them would have been there regardless. And I love that so many were able to come and travel. Their energy fed our energy. It was amazing. So just thank you to all of you who were there in person, and thank you to all of you who are following along online. We got a lot of messages either on our social medias or through the team that you all were watching. And again, love that support. Cannot thank you enough. I will continually say that I think we have the best parent group in the conference because you all allow us to do amazing things to support your swimmers. But we wouldn't be able to do that without your support. So just, again, thank you. Maybe this is a little corny, but the word that comes to mind is just grateful, right? I'm so grateful for your support that I just don't think our program would be what it is without you all. So again, just one more thank you to the parents. Y'all are the best. I love you all. And we're looking forward to seeing you all in February. What's the last thing I wrote here? So yeah, just again, I know this was a longer video, but I felt we needed to give Bruin the proper recap that it deserved. Again, thanks so much. I hope everyone enjoys the Thanksgiving break. Enjoy that time with friends and family, and we'll come back next week, talk about the last kind of 2 weeks of our fall season, and we'll go from there. All right, thanks everyone. Peace.